And we are live. Welcome to Flow Content Creation Week 2. So excited, Week 2. We're going to be talking about values, and we have some wonderful, beautiful people in the broadcast room waiting to come in and join us in this conversation. And this is something we're doing completely new here, and we're live in the Flow Network community. So hello to everybody who's watching us live. We have a private chat going on here. So Rome, thanks for testing that out. Namaste. I can see you. And will it let me bring them up? No, it won't. Maybe that's because I have the banner going on. Let me see. This is good testing. We'll let some people come on here. Let's go back. Chat. Gonna have to sort that one out. I can't figure out why that's not working. But I can see your chat. So if you're on the replay, hello and welcome. This is something new we're doing where we have, I think it's up to 8 seats that can join us in the broadcast room here and actually chat and participate with the conversation each week, every Sunday, for the topic for the week. And so now I'm going to bring in the people who are waiting in our room here. We have, of course, Tim and Sharon. Hi, guys.
Hi.
And we have
Happy Sunday.
Rome. Happy Sunday.
Hello,
Let's
Rome.
find a good configuration.
Hi, guys.
Here.
Hi, Rome. How are you?
There we go. That's what we want.
Sharon, good to see you. Lovely.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Host.
Great to see
Cheers.
you.
Nice flow mug. So grab a coffee, grab a tea, grab a drink if you're watching.
I'm going to excuse myself, or maybe Tim's going to grab it for me. I'm going to move my drink into my UBU mug.
Excellent.
I have one.
So today I thought we would keep the broadcast a little bit shorter. And we've already sort of done our introduction. So for anybody who wants to go back and who's just joining this challenge and watch the replay of our introduction and why we're doing this, I'm sure we'll weave in a little bit as we go. But I thought, I really would just love to dive into values. And here at Flow Network, we've been talking about this old world, new world. The old world is crumbling, and for all of us in so many ways, and we are stepping into something new, and we have no idea what this looks like. And really, it's up to our vision for what we want things to look like in our future. It's up for our intention. It's up for our really to hold to our values and to create in the new world. And we brought up this model last week where we talk about the new world in level 4 or 5 is the powers within us, and really owning that as we step into the future. The power of our intention, the power of our vision, and the power of our sharing literally inspires our communities. And this challenge is all about inspiring leaders, way showers to show up on video and share their vision, share their story, and create really mindfully and intentfully what it is we want for our future, understanding that we have the power inside of us. So that's one of the reasons why we started this challenge. And this no going back thing is, I think more and more people are waking up to the fact, I just can't, in the beginning when the pandemic first happened, it was like, I can't wait for things to go back to normal. And I think more of us are waking up to the fact that we could actually never go back, because life doesn't work that way. It's always moving forward. And so last week we talked about gratitude, which is a great place to start. And everyone had wonderful videos that they've shared about what they were grateful for, because when we focus our energy on gratitude, it contributes to more in the future of what we can be grateful for. And so this week, in terms of our values and understanding that our values can change, and what we valued in the past might be changing now as a result. And a lot of people shared some really amazing perspectives of what they were grateful for during the pandemic and how that's changed their life and changed their trajectory to actually suit who they are more. And here at Flow Network, our foundation in terms of this UBU, and we talked about the mug, is we feel the most relevant strategy moving into the future is to be your most outrageous self, for you to be you. And a lot of us are waking up to the ways that we actually thought we were being ourselves and then realizing actually we weren't being our full self. And it's really, for me, one of my values is community and deep connection, because we learn who we are based off of others. And by communicating in very deep ways who it is that we are and what it is that we're really feeling, what it is that we're really going through. And I'm seeing more and more and more people value these types of relationships where they feel like they can be themselves with whatever they're feeling and whatever they're going through. And spaces where we can be vulnerable and be held in non-judgment are so important as we move forward. And so my values are, definitely have some of them written down that I really want to talk about, is community, because we are all being stretched. And Sharon, you posted something really great I happened to see right before, when in sharing the scaling consciousness. And why don't I just bring that up? Because so you can go on Flow Network and see more videos where we dive deeper into this. But this is the UBU game, is we're actually scaling consciousness and realizing, what are our values? What frequency, what feelings do we actually want to feel? And learning our full spectrum. And learning about all of this. And we can really only do that in community and in having conversations that are very contextual, which, Tim's brilliant at creating all the models that we have on Flow Network. And you can dive into those videos if they speak to you. But we're all being stretched in ways that we've never been stretched before. And to come together in community and be able to just talk and learn about ourselves and reflect and have self-awareness, and all of these things are so important moving into the future. Tim and Sharon, do you want to have anything to add about that?
Go ahead, Tim, and then I do. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because this upcoming week is about values, and for me, love is my first in it is a foremost value. And the interesting thing with love, imagine my surprise when love is a lot more to it than just hugging and kissing. So it's an opportunity. I'm really excited about the opportunity to be able to go and do videos on this and share stories, because there is such an opportunity for myself and community to be able to learn from examples, because all we have is our filters when we're learning about what's going on the planet right now. But we literally have never been here before. So history is not repeating itself. And so if history is not repeating itself, it means that when we're actually trying to navigate today, tomorrow, the next day, we don't have much in the way of information to be able to go and figure that out. This is what I did 2 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. But that's how we were taught. And being able to love the journey is a bit of a challenge. And without sounding ridiculous, to love absolutely everything that happens, the sizzle and the shite, as an intellectual exercise, it's freaking easy as anything. I love you, I love this, I love that. But to totally surrender.
Oh, yay, my whole life is falling apart. I love it.
I love it. This is so fantastic, even loving it. Well, the interesting thing with the scale of consciousness is there is a context for love at the 500. And it does provide us with an opportunity to be able to understand, to be able to go and live at that level 500, you have to let go of the crap at the bottom, which is fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Well, who's talked about that?
Those emotions. You're talking about the emotions here on the scale of consciousness.
Yes, yeah. So that's all. I don't want to go into a big long thing.
I know. I have a tendency to want to go into the big long thing with this as well. And I mean, we have videos that you can watch that are short, 2 minutes, that explain this.
Here's Finny.
And hi, Finny. And actually, one of our community members commented in watching that video, because as you've taught me, Tim, and has been so wildly helpful, is that, our height of achievement is directly correlated to our depth of engagement. So as we expand and experience more love, more of we say shite, which is not coming from a judgment place. It's just who wants to really feel these things? We don't. But definitely having no judgment is important. But those yucky feelings get exposed the more we expand into love. And that can put us into panic if we don't understand what's going on. So it was Vicky who commented and just said, "Oh my God, that's like a huge aha for me." So worth mentioning. But I know Tim and we could definitely go on and on and on talking to this literally for hours.
I'll do a 30-second bit. If we're actually going to live, this is about values. If we're going to live our values, it's going to be up at the higher frequency. So 100% guaranteed you're going to have stuff come up. It's 100%.
Yeah. Well said.
The comment I wanted to make about values is, it's really, really easy to not invest the time to really sit down and get clear about what our values are. However, especially if we are leaders, if we are leading other people, we're leading an organization, we're leading a movement, we are leading other people, we have to know what our values are and what the values of our organization, whether it's a formal business that's generating money or it's a collective of people trying to accomplish something together. And it's easy to say, oh, they're words, so we'll sit down and we'll talk about those words. We need to figure out what the words are for sure, because there's, so many words we could choose. Then we have to define them, and then we have to live them. And it is by living our values, especially when we're in the really difficult times. I'm going through cancer treatment. I'm at a low point in my treatment right now, by which I mean I'm worn out. I haven't had a break from chemotherapy in over 2 years. So I'm worn down. It's very challenging. We got some other big things going on in our life, and I'm not at my best because there's just a lot going on. And so when I think about how I'm going to live and get through that, it is my values and the people around me who know me and know my values, who reach out to me and gently and lovingly basically take me and say, sit here with us and don't forget who you are. Remember who you are and remember why you're here and remember what we're doing and get a bigger perspective. Our values, especially when we run an organization, there's almost nothing more important. Well, there isn't anything. You wouldn't build a house or a deck. You wouldn't build a birdhouse without a foundation. Our values, our purpose, and our vision create that foundation. And when we don't have that, we can't explicitly explain it to other people. We can't make sure that all of the leaders that we're gathering around us are on the same page. And then when we hit hard times, and we're absolutely going to, as Tim says, when we stretch, even leaving aside I can't do the hand puppet thing very well.
Good.
I'm not
Let
very
me put it up there for you.
There we go. Even leaving aside the fact that our own personal stuff comes up, the very definition of stretching means that we're learning. And if we are learning, we're failing. We cannot learn without failing.
Yeah.
And as adults, we don't like to fail publicly because we have been deeply conditioned that we are like, look at social media. Mm-hmm. Generally, it's our best. I don't put, oh, look at me, I haven't showered for 17 days because I'm so depressed. I probably wouldn't put that on social media. Not that actually has happened, just saying.
Well,
but
and then that's a part.
Low moments.
Yeah, and that's a part for me is that I've been passionate about in being a broadcast visionary and seeing culture evolving with social media is to bring in the power of failure. And actually, there's a video on our network called Evolving at the Speed of Crisis. Yep. And talking about the way showers are the ones who have failed. And I've had a lot of conversations with beautiful heart-centered leaders who, it's beautiful to hear their stories because there's so much wisdom, and that needs to be, for me, that's a value, is that we reframe what failure means from the old world and understand that it's a power. It's a power, and we need to.
So
Rome, we haven't.
Sorry, last thing.
Sure.
I cannot encourage people enough to spend the time to really think about what are your values. Choose some. Maybe try and keep it to 5 if you could, so you can remember them, and then take the time to define them, and then actually observe yourself. Where do you live those values and where do you not? Because we all have moments where we do not live, we don't show up in our values.
Mhm.
I have been doing this work for 40 years. I have been learning for 40 years how to help people learn this. I don't show up in my values all the time. That's a lot of practice. So
Yeah.
if I'm not showing up all the time, people who are just starting this for sure are not.
Mhm.
Like,
And for me, I like,
powerful thing we can do.
yeah, I like when I was in a real like, what is my life going on? I listed like as many values as I could, and
Yeah.
just like, so there's like no limit, and just
Yes.
allow yourself to feel into them. I think we have Tim Moy who's joined. Let me just add, welcome, Tim
Hey.
Moy. Hi,
Hey, Tim
thank
Moy.
you for joining us.
Hello.
Connection through Rome. So why don't we pass it over to you, Rome? You can. I like your flow. Is that a flow there? Right
Yeah.
on.
Nice.
Both ways. That's good.
So
That's the flow then.
that is super flow. So Rome, why don't we pass it over to you? And if you want to touch on anything, and
Sure.
maybe
Sure.
introduce
Thank
us
you.
more, because I know
Namaste.
he's your connection. Namaste.
Let me first by just giving thanks for Sarah and Flow Network making this thing available. I just love it. And I couldn't go further without saying, Tim, I feel the love that you have for Sharon right through this camera. It's amazing. Yeah, I just
Thank you.
I'm very fortunate.
Yes,
I don't
you
know.
are, dear. Yes,
I
you are.
wouldn't be standing still, honestly, without the love
Yeah.
that
It's
Tim
amazing.
and
Yeah,
other
he's
people, Sarah.
an
He's an oak tree.
He's an oak tree.
He's an oak tree. He's an oak
Yeah.
tree that's actually shedding a few tears right near. I'm not going to bother wiping them.
Nah,
because
it's
I know
all
the
right.
distance is such- you
It's
can't
all
really-
love, brother. It's all love. You know.
It's all love.
Hey, look, working with a lot of young people recently, I've come to notice there's a handful of basic awakening indicators when you're going through this process, when you're coming around out of the muck and you're starting to realize your new true self, and morals and values, they're going to change. They're going to change from what you've learned and perceived before, and they're going to evolve into something completely new to you, right? Things that you didn't care for or did care for are going to change, and that's part of the process. I think that's important to mention, because there's a lot of people out there that don't feel the same way they did, or they don't view things, and maybe they're struggling with that because maybe their family still sees things in the old way, or their business partners, or people they work with still see things in the old ways, and that's okay as well, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Important.
values to me is an understanding. It's such a learned process, programming starting with your parents and your local community and your friends. But this new shift, this new awakening period that everyone is having, is a great opportunity to allow your morals and your values to open up to higher and more greater things. You're no longer bound to the things that you were taught. You have the ability to stretch and expand as much as you want to. So when it comes to values, I say, yeah, you stay strong to your core principles, but be open-minded to the new and expanding ways that you can evolve yourself.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
That's an awesome
Very
point.
good point. Especially in this great transformation. We call it the
Right.
transformation economy. We're all transforming. So it's a really good point.
Let me say hi to Tim. Hi, man.
Yeah, hi.
It's good to
Hi.
see you from over the Telegram group on the New Earth Project. Good to see you.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
Do you want to share what drew you to this group? Or anything you want to share? Your values or what you're learning?
Honestly, I'm still thinking about last week's theme of gratitude.
Okay, cool.
I've been working on creating a video about how to practice gratitude. So
Nice.
Cool.
Can't wait to see that.
yeah, it's feeling good. I'm making a lot of discoveries, I would say, trying to take a more scientific approach to this very emotional sensation. So it's going pretty interesting, but I'm gonna branch from that into my values, which is
Beautiful.
truth, I would say, and the pursuit of discovery, and like the journey that one goes on to uncover their truth, and however that may look. And there's a lot of like presumptions or ideas of how one's truth might or should look like, but that might not necessarily be the reality. So
Beautiful.
Well
That's
said.
awesome.
That'll be powerful.
yeah.
And you bring up a good point for anybody who's watching and just joining in this challenge. You can feel free to, like, we're just flowing with this. So if you have creativity and you want to talk about gratitude again and make another video about gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no rules. So the whole point is just to inspire. First of all, creating video content is great, but if you've seen any of my past videos, I talk about how I use video as a reflective tool. And so this is also a part of the challenge, is to dive us deeper into reflection and our own truth. Going back to what you missed in the beginning, we're talking about, like, you be you is ultimately this discovery of understanding your truth and who it is that you really are and what's true for you. And I like to say there's as many different unique paths as there are fingerprints.
Yes.
And so it's this beautiful discovery to
I'm gonna write that down.
find out, what is value to me, and maybe tomorrow it changes, and just allow yourself to flow with what's really emerging from within you. And a lot of people are really uncomfortable with change. We're so uncomfortable with change that
Most
we
humans.
would rather stay in what is comfortable and not disrupt the people around us, because we might hurt their feelings, or we might, cause some sort of disruption that breaks the peace. And maybe we were the peacekeeper, maybe we were the people pleaser, and we can no longer deny what our heart is pulling us towards in these times. And we have to be okay to not take on the discomfort of others as we change and we evolve and we grow. And that
That's
takes
so
a
easy
lot
to
of
say.
courage. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to do that. And that's also why finding communities that allow and have this perspective of our potential to grow and evolve and change moment to moment, even, and not hold us in a tight space or a tight perspective of who they thought we were.
We are never the person from the outside that we think we are on the inside, right? I mean, even appearances. You think, my hair looks okay today, this or it's looks terrible, or I feel this way. It's never that way. So you should be hindered by thinking that you're restricted that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also we never know how we appear to other people,
somebody else.
because I posted my gratitude video last week, and it really was the first video that I've made without Sarah, because I had major blocks. And a friend who was a client as well posted a comment on the link and said, you and Tim are so good at what you do, and you're so, I don't think that you have any blocks with anything. It's like, that's just not, first of all, especially in the client space, like, I'm there to be of service. So it doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I step into that energy of contributing and being of service and supporting the client. That is the best thing for me, and it helps them. I don't bring my stuff. That stays outside of that space for that time. Yeah. So, the way we perceived, I've had lots of people over my career say, and when I was first in cancer treatment, I was working with a very large company and a leadership team of about 15 people. And a number of them said to me, I can't believe that anything bothers you. Like, you're probably always calm whenever you're at this. Like, talk to my doctors. They use medication a lot to calm me down. It's like, we're sticking sharp things in her. Give her more calming medicine. I'm not always calm and in control. Of course I'm not. I'm a human being. But that's how lots of people have perceived me, because that's all they ever see, because I show up to go to work.
Yeah. It's interesting, Tim, while you're talking about truth, because I mean it's such a journey to actually, for me, I've always experienced it as such a magical journey. I do remember a cousin of mine just about 2 or 3 years ago. He's highly placed, or was highly placed, in the economic strata that's global, and so he was really lamenting the idea that we are now in, because of social media and all these shared versions of reality. He identified it as the death of truth, and it was a really, really big issue for him, because he had helped, you know, a number of countries around the world gain stability by actually going and pulling people together around a common value, which was truth, only to later discover that we all live in a 100% subjective world. So what's my truth is very unique to me. Now I make the mistake that you have exactly the same truth. And then
more to the point, you should.
You should. And so there's where it actually goes. You should, because if you're going to be part of this team, you have to because science, because you alluded to the point of tying in science doesn't really have an understanding at the rational level that there's a truth that we all subjectively have. So they actually create their own truths, and they actually create at a rational level so we can all get on the same page. But it falls apart at the subatomic level. At the complexity level, the whole thing falls apart because we all have our own version of truth.
Yeah, and we have a very good point, Tim. And we actually have a couple of flow shows in our archive about the death of truth and the rise of trust. Yeah. And I think I've also done some riffs on that in the past when I was going through the biggest crumbling of a reality shift a couple of years ago. I did create that video of the death of truth and the rise of trust, because ultimately it's this trust of ourselves, and the trust, can we trust our own intuition enough to follow the little niggles, the little intuitions, the little heart pulls towards what it is that we really want to do, even when every person around us is telling us that we should go the other way.
That comes with your, you could do that, but you have to put all your doubts away.
Yeah.
You have to leave them at the floor.
Yeah. And that's so easy.
That can be very tough, right?
Oh gosh.
Easy to say.
Yeah. Easy to say.
So difficult.
That's why community is so critical.
That's why community is critical. Yeah.
Hey, I just want to read this real quick. I had
What are you going to read us?
I just the definition. I just looked at the definition of values. It was interesting.
Okay. Read it to
the
us.
regard that something is held to deserve, an importance, a worth, the usefulness of something. A person's principles or standards or behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. It's funny how that changes so much in our life, though.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Right? Because everyone here can say, 10 years ago I had different values.
Yeah.
That's right.
Even 10 minutes ago.
Right? Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Well, and our truth, Tim, to your point, is that what I understand as the truth is very different than what I understood as the truth when I was a young woman.
Yeah.
And, when I was in my 40s, say. And now, when here I am at 60 and on this particular journey, and what I understand as truth is evolving again.
Yeah.
Because
at a rapid rate.
Because life is, our life, well, certainly when we engage actively in our lives and go on our own personal hero's journey to live the life we were meant to live, as opposed to the life that we should live, then, it's game on. It's a constant evolution, because we are constantly learning more about who we are and what that means and how we can show up in the world.
Yeah, well said.
Sarah, you mentioned it earlier today, is be the truth you seek, or be the reality you seek, or the world that you seek. And interesting, if you're looking at it from the perspective of just Tim, and so I'm separate from everybody, I'm trying to do something. But the reality we seek is that we have unity and we have love and we have all this stuff at the top. So we are doing a really good job. All of us on this journey doing a really good job. And we know that because at the bottom, we got a lot of shite being stirred up around relative to the economy, climate change, inequality, racial injustice. There's just a whole pile of stuff. And that's us. Like that's who we are. That is the vibrational frequency that we actually carry in unity. So it is, I mean, without getting really heady, but the idea is that we are the change that we seek. And those of us who are actually been leading this charge for a while, it is pretty lonely. So community is just freaking huge.
Yeah, and more than huge, it's Bruce Lipton talks about in his Spontaneous Evolution book that this period that we're facing, this jump point in evolution, we're literally in this jump point of evolution from an old world, level 1, 2, 3, to a new world, level 4, 5, is evolving in community. How can we actually flow in community with this perspective, not just intellectually that we're all one and we're all connected, but embodied, we are all one. Like you watching this are us, all of us. And that again is another thing to say. Easy said, one love, we're all connected, and then a whole other rabbit hole, let's use, to actually live that. And so there is no blueprint for what, or a model really, or very few that I have seen that model a truly interdependent, free of our codependent ways and of relating to society and one another. There are very few models of what that is. And Flow Network, we know our reason for being on the planet is to be way showers in this. And for sure, are we going to fail? Of course. And are we going to be willing to share them? Of course. And this is evolution, and this is change. And I think maybe we can finish each sharing briefly for the videos for this week. I would love to see us talking about values, similar to what we did with gratitude, specifically during the pandemic time, which has been this catalyst for us to really understand our unique truths. Is how have your values changed as a result of the pandemic? Or what values are you, and even the word value, your values, like whatever kind of riff you want to talk about as it relates to that. I think that would be a powerful share for everyone who wants to participate in this challenge this week. And if anybody feels called to share something right now, I will love that as an example.
Well, it's interesting because we've had a consulting company for a lot of years, and in the core values, it was light core, and still is in play. Light core, light, L-I-G-H-T. I won't go through all the values, but the first one's leadership. And we contemplated this, and we were talking about it this morning. And my values have changed. I'm very much, as opposed to leadership, I choose love, because love embodies leadership, but in a way that's actually much, much more accessible. Because for me, am I being love? It's not about sending love or having the intention of love, which is part of it, but am I actually being love in every moment? Because even in the shite, the challenge we have, the illusion is it's really love, but we've actually baked in all this ooky stuff around it and held on to it, and we can't let it go. So it shows up and it scares the crap out of us, and we get frightened. We go, oh, I don't like that. I'm ashamed of that, or I feel guilty about that. And you go, yes, it's all love. So to be, for me, it's had a profound impact these last couple of years. And then Sharon with graciously leading the way in terms of dealing with holy shitness is really helped me understand, like, oh my God, all there is love. Like all there is love. And our mentors that we've studied with for a whole pile of years, he talks about that all the time. And that has really, 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 really helped me. And that is a profound foundational shift.
Ba-da-da-da.
Da-da-da-da, yeah. Love is all you need.
All you need is love.
There we go.
There's a Beatles song for everything.
Yeah.
All you need
is love.
I don't see how you can hear that phrase and not hear that.
I know.
Oh yeah. Well, I definitely hear it. We were watching something where the Beatles Get Back. It's just a new film on Netflix.
New documentary.
A new documentary a couple of days ago. And it's just so cool.
Shot in 1971, but the footage is just being released. You know, for me in the last, because obviously half the Beatles are dead, but the value that has become more present and critically important to me during the pandemic, particularly, is community. And I think it's a combination of the impact of the pandemic and the impact on the economy, and therefore the impact on our business, because consulting and coaching, leadership development, executive coaching, and full-on consulting tends to go away during very challenging economic times. And when people are buying, they tend to go with the very large consulting firms who never used to work in our space and do now. So the impact of community, as I've been on this 3.5-year journey, and the impact that it has on my resilience and just my body, I couldn't live the quality of life that I'm living if I didn't have the community around me.
Yeah.
I still ride at least once a week, twice a week when I can. And my oncologist apparently is shocked by that, that I'm still able to do that. Well, part of the reason I'm able to do that is because my community at the barn makes it possible for me to do that. They go and get my horse. They help me tack up. They clean his hoofs so I don't have to bend over and do that. So really, I can just focus on getting on the horse and riding and being with him and with them. And it's the most powerful medicine that I have for me, besides the love that I have in my life daily.
Well, maybe love and community is the same thing.
Maybe it is. I think that it definitely is to my. Does anybody have anything else to add about values and how they've changed in these times before we wrap up and I give out the final logistics?
I'll just add one small thing. I think Tim had mentioned earlier, your values can change in an instant, in a heartbeat. And I do value community, but I also value opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't value your opportunity, you just waste it away.
Yeah.
Right. It was the opportunity, luck, and preparedness. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That triangle there.
Yeah.
We just saw a movie the other night called About Time. Have you all seen this movie? It's a Netflix film. English, very well, done family. All the males can go back in time.
Yes, I've seen that. That was fabulous. I loved that movie.
They all have a genetic thing where they can clench their fists and go back to a time that they remember or a time that they experienced. And they can relive that or change and manipulate that, as it were. Well, the movie is fantastic because, they learn a lot of things. But what the interesting was, it's a very father-son kind of thing. And that movie hit that kind of heartstring for me. But it was very interesting because he had the ability to go through a day or a moment or an experience or an engagement and not be satisfied with it and then go back and change it, and many times in the movie, he just didn't take the sense of the opportunity. And then he had to go back and readjust what he had an opportunity to do. He chases a girl in a part of the movie, and he tries to go back and kindle with his father and that kind of thing. It's a very good movie. I think everyone should see it. But as far as like values changing and opportunities and communities, it's all important. And I think one of our superpowers has always been attention, and what we put our attention on will really come to, right? So just being mindful that these opportunities, these communities are there, right? You have this availability, and to use them, I think is the most beneficial thing.
Beautifully said. Yeah. Very great point. What we focus on expands, and that really was circling back to the beginning and talking about week 1 and being gratitude and that focusing on gratitude. And Rome, your video was brilliant because you just said, I'm grateful for everything. And it's not judging anything ultimately from that stance. And when we can understand that there is something we can, the opportunity, if we choose, is that we can learn and grow from every single experience we're going through. And when we have that mindset and stance of, I am grateful, that's the only way we'll be able to extract that wisdom in that space. So what we focus on expands. The more we focus on gratitude, the more opportunities will present that we can be grateful for. And one of my values is beauty. I love having beauty around me. And I've been saying for a lot of years, if I can focus on beauty, not aesthetically, not about my appearance, but beauty in how I see humanity with one another, beauty in the nature, beauty in my environment and how I choose to create my space. When I focus on beauty, more beauty expands. And that has certainly been my lived experience in the years that I have chosen to focus on that value. So thank you for adding all of your wisdom, Rome. Thank you for joining us, Timoy, and being new to this community. We love all of your input, and I look forward to seeing your video on gratitude that will flow into your values. And maybe you'll do some more of those arm movements in your video because you're so good at it.
You gotta practice it.
You're
got a flow going there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's a practice thing. Look at that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like, look at it. It's
both ways.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, I'm liable to hurt myself.
Yeah.
That's a good flow right there.
That is.
And Tim and Sharon, I value you so much. I would not be here without you, your support and your love and all of your wisdom in being way showers all of these years. So thank you. And thank you for anybody who's watching the replay. We're so excited for this challenge. As you've heard, we value community. We feel and we value, growing and expanding. And we feel like this is a really great way to organically grow community and share the word of flow and raise the roof. So
I'm just learning from
the
Timoy.
vibration.
Timoy is leading the way here.
Yes, he's raising the vibe. Thank you for raising the vibe, raising the vibration as we move through tumultuous times. Great transition is upon us, and anchoring to community and higher vibration is really what's going to not only get us through, but what is actually going to create our new world. Yes. We are the creators. We are the co-creators. Our vibration, our frequency, our thoughts, are creating reality. Feel free to share this with anybody you think would benefit from getting on video. We want to see your videos. Share them in Flow Network community on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, you're on Instagram, then just hashtag Flow Content Creation. This is really free flowing, so you be you. And that's all we've got to say. So thanks so much, everybody. And for now, we will say flow over and out.
Flow over and out.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. 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 For our conscious community, we invite you to Flow Network 99. Wake up, show up, light up, and let's flow, baby.